Hey guys, what's up? You guys know who it is? This is Splice Night, and normally I don't post on a Sunday, but I just wanted to go over some very quick reference to the Flash finale, as I haven't seen the Arrow finale yet, but I'm sure I'll have a lot of thoughts to have on that this following Thursday and Friday. I'm not entirely sure what's going to go up for events and stuff like that right now. I think my vlog's probably going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of stuff going on, but with that said, guys, just quickly going over it, and I do apologize for the difference in quality. It's closer to vlog just because I'm currently I'm so behind, I'm just kind of gonna splurt out some stuff as far as the DC comic references that are in The Flash. So going forward with that, right now we've got a bunch of different references from the Speedforce Storm, which could be the catalyst and reference to the comic where Godspeed is actually involved. Basically what happens is a Speedforce Storm, as a result, I can't remember actually what the result, or why there was a Speedforce Storm. I think it had something to do with Barry changing the timeline or something in the original comic, but that being said, there's a Speedforce Storm. It hits several different people. Lots of new speedsters are created, some using their abilities for good, a lot like Barry and Wally and the entire Flash family, and others, obviously, as people are, there's good and bad in every group of people. There are a lot of evil speedsters now generated that were stirring up a lot of shit, and one in particular that became really well known was, of course, Godspeed. Now, with that said, let's talk about the fact that he actually enters the Speed Force, which is something that you probably wouldn't have expected. A lot of people were freaking out, but at the same time, I was hearing a lot about it before I even watched the episode. So where that actually comes from is in the comic books, the Flash, every single one has entered the Speed Force at one point or another, and it's for a lot of different varying reasons. Whether it was for, in this case, to satiate the Speed Force with the prison, or just to find a momentary stop along the way. Now, Barry dying will have some interesting effects because he is actually, both in the show and in the comics, he's actually the source of the Speed Force. So obviously, him entering the Speed Force can mean a couple of different things now that we know that every speedster pretty much has gone into the Speed Force for one reason or another. But I think what this one is going to be referencing is kind of something not crisis-y, but it's going to be kind of the setup for how the Reverse Flash actually learns that he's going to end up being the Reverse Flash. And there's actually a comic reference to that as well, because, you know, there's just so many comic references to everything. Another cool thing that was actually really neat was the idea that Savitar was trying to be in all different conscious timelines and every moment and stuff. So that's actually kind of a reference to how the original sort of future Flash, if you know the comic, but basically he comes back from a really traumatized time where he's always too slow, and basically what doing that would allow him to be is on time and able to control the events that led to that sort of thing. But more importantly, in this particular narrative, it's actually referring to how he's trying to fix the Speed Force, and being the god of the Speed Force, or god of speed, would actually allow him to do that. And kind of more concretely manipulate it. Obviously, on top of that, there are also references to some future villains that they were dealing with. I'm trying to remember what he said in the actual Star Labs and that whole thing. But anywho. Also, something really interesting that I found, when the actual Speed Force Storm actually hit, even though nobody actually called it that, it's definitely a Speed Force Storm. Something that was really interesting was it kind of matched up with the fact that Savitar, who in the comics, when he goes up against the current Flash, who at the time was either, I think it was Barry, he ended up going on this worldwide rampage of destruction, So even though Savitar had been dealt with, we did actually get a little bit of that destruction happen at the end, which was really cool. So we are staying semi-true to what happened, but as kind of in the same arc of Savitar coming true with his parts of his character arc, we also had the fact that when Barry touches him, he is killed because at the time, Barry ends up being the Black Flash of that continuity because he'd just come back from death at that point. Now, which is really interesting because he's essentially died in the current show. Now, obviously, he's coming back as he's a series regular, so that might be a really cool reference to him gaining the abilities of the Black Flash. We'll see where that goes, but very interesting kind of point I want to touch on. And of course, as I have to mention, this means that Wally ends up being the new Flash. Whether or not he's going to get the full Flash costume, everything the way that it is on Barry, is yet to be seen, or if he'll get something specially retrofitted for him. However, obviously we know that Barry does come back and sports a way cooler looking suit in the future. But that being said, guys, there's a lot of cool stuff going on. Obviously, Wally is the faster Flash. If you guys didn't know that, he's actually considered faster than Barry, despite Barry actually being the one who generates the Speed Force. Barry is also not the most unique in his usage of the Speed Force. That's actually also allotted to Wally for the most part. Savitar's ability to manipulate an inertia field and steal speed from others, something that Wally can also do, is considered one of the others that is very skilled with the Speed Force. But with that said, guys, that's kind of some quick little comic references that are in the finale of The Flash. Obviously, we got our badass final battle. Anyway, guys, that's all I had to say. Splice Night Out and I will talk to you guys tomorrow again with a music video because, you know, how many videos is this now? 3 in a row. Awesome. Peace out.